Mom, I'm back. He saved me. The war had raged across 3-star systems for nearly a decade, and Sergeant Marcus Webb had seen more than his share of horrors. The Velkari Empire had swept through the outer colonies with ruthless efficiency, enslaving populations and strip-mining worlds for resources. Earth had joined the coalition against them 2 years ago, and Marcus had been on the front lines ever since. The mining colony on Tethys 7 was supposed to be abandoned. Intelligence said the Velkari had extracted everything of value and moved on 6 months prior. Marcus and his squad were there to confirm the site was clear before terraforming crews arrived. What they found instead changed everything. The entrance to the underground facility yawned before them like a mouth leading into darkness. Marcus adjusted his helmet's night vision and descended the corroded metal stairs, his rifle sweeping left and right. Behind him, 5 soldiers moved in practiced silence. "Contact," whispered Corporal Hayes over the comms. "Movement, lower level." They descended 3 more levels before Marcus heard it, a sound that made his blood run cold. Crying, not the wailing of an adult, but the soft, hiccuping sobs of a child. The holding cells stretched in long rows, most standing empty with doors hanging off broken hinges. But one cell at the far end remained sealed. Marcus approached cautiously, then felt his heart sink as he peered through the reinforced window. A small figure huddled in the corner, no more than 6 or 7 years old by human standards. But this was no human child. Her skin held a faint violet hue, and her eyes were too large, too luminous in the dim light. Her clothing was torn and filthy, and she trembled as she looked up at the armored figures outside her cell. "We've got a survivor," Marcus said quietly into his comm. "Juvenile. Looks Velkari. Orders are to secure the site, Sarge," Hayes reminded him. "Command didn't say anything about prisoners." Marcus studied the child through the window. She couldn't weigh more than 40 pounds. Her thin arms wrapped around her knees, and those enormous eyes tracked his every movement with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. He thought of his own daughter back on Earth, who would be about the same age now. He hadn't seen Emma in 14 months. "We're not leaving a kid in a cage," Marcus said firmly. He began working on the door's manual override. The lock hissed and released. Marcus pushed the door open slowly, keeping his rifle lowered. The child pressed herself harder against the wall, whimpering. "Hey," Marcus said softly, raising his visor so she could see his face. "It's okay. We're not going to hurt you." She stared at him with those huge violet eyes, uncomprehending. Right. Language barrier. Marcus slowly set his rifle down and raised both hands, palms out. He took one careful step forward, then another. "My name is Marcus," he said, pointing to himself. Then he gestured to her with an open hand, questioning. She watched him for a long moment. Finally, in a voice barely above a whisper, she spoke. "Lyra," Marcus smiled. "Lyra, that's a beautiful name." He held out his hand. After a hesitation that felt like an eternity, she reached out and took it. Her small fingers were ice cold. The trip back to base took 18 hours. Lyra never left Marcus's side, holding tight to his hand even when they boarded the transport ship. She refused to eat until Marcus ate first, demonstrating the ration bar was safe. Slowly, color began to return to her face. Command was less enthusiastic about his rescue. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Captain Rodriguez demanded. "That child is Velkari. Her people have killed millions of our allies." "She's a child," Marcus replied evenly. "She was locked in a cell and left to die. What would you have me do?" The right thing from a strategic standpoint would be to use her as a bargaining chip. "No." Marcus's voice was steel. "Absolutely not." Rodriguez studied him for a long moment, then sighed. "The diplomats are going crazy, trying to figure out what to do with her. Apparently, Her biometrics matched someone important. Very important. 2 days later, Marcus understood that the delegation arrived with an escort of 30 warships. The Velkari government had agreed to a temporary ceasefire for the sole purpose of this meeting. Marcus stood on the landing platform, Lyra's hand clutched in his. As the shuttle touched down, the woman who emerged took Marcus's breath away. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her violet skin marked with the intricate silver patterns that denoted Velkari nobility. Her robes shimmered with embedded circuitry, and her presence commanded immediate respect. But it was her eyes that held Marcus transfixed, the same luminous violet as Lyra's, now wide with desperate hope. Queen Valera, sovereign ruler of the Velkari Empire, stopped 10 paces away. Her gaze locked onto the small figure half hidden behind Marcus's leg. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Lyra? The queen's voice cracked, all royal composure shattering. The little girl's eyes went wide. Mama? Then she was running, her small legs carrying her across the platform as fast as they could go. The queen dropped to her knees, arms outstretched, and caught her daughter as the child crashed into her embrace. The sound that came from Queen Valera was beyond words, beyond culture, beyond species, the raw, primal cry of a mother reunited with her lost child. Tears streamed down the queen's face as she clutched Lyra to her chest, rocking back and forth, speaking rapid words in their native tongue. Lyra wrapped her arms around her mother's neck and sobbed. Marcus felt his own eyes burning. Around him, hardened soldiers shifted uncomfortably, more than one swiping at their faces. Finally, after what seemed like forever, Queen Valera looked up. Still holding Lyra, she rose to her full height and approached Marcus. Up close, he could see the tear tracks on her face, the way her hands trembled as they held her daughter. "You," she said in accented but clear English. "You found her. You saved her." Marcus swallowed hard. "I just did what anyone would do, Your Majesty." "No." The queen shook her head firmly. "I have searched for 8 months. 8 months of not knowing if my daughter lived or died. My own people told me she was lost, killed when rebels attacked our transport. But you, a human, an enemy soldier, you gave her back to me." She shifted Lyra to one arm and reached out, placing her free hand over Marcus's heart in what he recognized as a Velkari gesture of deep respect. "You could have left her. You could have used her against me. But you protected her. You fed her. My daughter tells me you held her when she had nightmares, that you sang her songs in your language, even though she could not understand the words." Marcus felt his face flush. She was scared. She needed someone. Queen Valera's eyes searched his face. "You have a daughter." It wasn't a question. Marcus nodded. "Emma, she's 7. And you have not seen her in how long?" 14 months. The queen's expression softened even further. "You knew what it meant to be separated from one's child. You could not bear to see another parent suffer the same." She paused, then continued. "The war between our people has cost too much. Too many children without parents. Too many parents without children. This must end." She turned to address the assembled delegations from both sides, her voice ringing with authority. "Today, a human soldier showed me that compassion transcends species, that honor exists even between enemies. If this man, who has every reason to hate my people, can show such kindness to my daughter, then we can find peace. I declare a ceasefire across all fronts, effective immediately. We will negotiate an end to this war." The platform erupted in stunned silence, then chaos as diplomats scrambled to respond. Marcus barely heard any of it. He was focused on Lyra, who had turned in her mother's arms to look at him. She reached out with one small hand. Marcus took it gently. "You take care of your mama, okay?" Lyra nodded solemnly, then surprised him by leaning forward and pressing her forehead to his, a Velkari gesture of deep affection. "Thank you, Marcus." As the delegation prepared to depart, Queen Valera approached him one last time. "When this war is over, when peace is established, you will come to our homeworld as my honored guest. You will bring your Emma. Your daughter will meet mine, and our children will play together as children should, without the shadow of war above them." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I would like that very much, Your Majesty." The Queen smiled, really smiled, and he saw in that moment not a fearsome ruler, but simply a grateful mother. "You gave me back my heart, Marcus Webb. I will spend the rest of my life ensuring that was not in vain." As their shuttle lifted off, Marcus watched until it disappeared into the stars. Behind him, Captain Rodriguez cleared his throat. "You know what you just did, Webb? You might have just ended a war." Marcus shook his head slowly. "I didn't end anything, sir. I just helped a little girl find her way home." But as he returned to his quarters that night and pulled up the photo of Emma on his datapad, Marcus allowed himself to hope. Maybe, just maybe, he would get to go home soon too. And maybe the galaxy would be a little bit safer for all their children. The war officially ended 67 days later.